point of writing it down? Sometimes, like, when you feel a lot of shame, you write them down, and then when you physically write them down, it's like you're admitting these feelings to yourself and you're accepting these emotions that you have. When I journal, I pretend like I'm updating a friend. Made a mistake, it happened, you gotta move on. You have to move on. Sometimes I do think that my journal is the proof of me being able to live. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel.
Did you miss me?
Hopefully you did. Hopefully you did. I missed y'all. Anyways, this video, I am again once surprised, once again, I'm very surprised that I haven't made this video yet, which is how to journal. The reason why I'm putting this video for so long is because I'm just like,
you just journal.
And I never really thought like there was like a process of journaling. So that's why like when people are like,
how do you, I don't know how to journal.
I was like just journal. So then I'm like, okay, let me just like think about this. So I took notes. And I'm gonna tell you guys why you should journal. You know, back then when people are like, you should journal, I didn't get it. I'm like,
why am I gonna journal? It's too much work. It sounds exhausting. Having to write down your emotions, like what's the difference?
Why can't I just think about it? Like, what's the point of writing it down? I think journaling is more like a tool. You need to know what you want to get out of it. Let me tell you why you should start journaling. I think one of the biggest things, at least for me, is that sometimes I feel a lot of shame with my emotions, which is not good. Sometimes, like, when you feel a lot of shame, you write them down, and then when you physically write them down, it's like you're admitting these feelings to yourself and you're accepting these emotions that you have. It's almost like you're looking through a stranger's perspective. You're just, that person feels sad. That's all. That doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right? They're just feeling these emotions and you're admitting it to yourself and you feel better about it. You're like, that wasn't something to be shameful about. So before we get into how to journal, that's just one of the biggest reasons why I think you should journal. I do want to add that I feel like it takes a lot to start, but once you start, it becomes easier. And the process of it can also be
fun.
And it can also make you become happier. Yeah, you heard that right. So going to how to journal, I'm gonna tell you how I journal, okay? I feel like everyone journals differently. So usually how I journal is that when I first started, I felt very awkward. Like I felt very awkward writing into my journal. I started journaling probably like last November. And when I first started, it's just that I was very focused on making my journal look good. As in what I'm writing is good, is acceptable. Not important things like, oh, I'm at a cafe right now. I'm gonna do this today, which is fine, but I feel like it didn't really get into like deeper stuff. And it's kind of similar to building a friendship with someone. Like you want to show off like your good stuff. You want to show off like the good traits first to your friend. When I journal, I pretend like I'm updating a friend, which doesn't really write back. Wait, this sounds really sad, but you know what I mean. You can be like,
hey there,
haven't spoken to you in a while. I feel like shit right now. You can update them about how the day went, write down what exactly pissed you off. One of the biggest things I always hear is that
there's too much to write. Like I have too much thoughts to write down.
But that's a part of it. Oh my god, I literally see a bug. Oh my god, I see a bug. You have all the time in the world, or at least like journal during a period where you have time to journal, right? Take your time, slowly write it down. Write down what you want your friend to know and let it all out. Your journal does not have to be neat. If you're mad, scribble, write big ass words. If you do write neat, that's great, but if you don't, it's fine. You don't have to write a certain way. This is your journal. It's for you to express yourself, right? Going back to what I was saying, journaling is like building a connection with a friend. Because at the beginning, I was super awkward. Not even awkward, it was just that I was talking about a very surface level thing. I just felt shameful about my emotions sometimes. As time goes on, you slowly get out of your comfort zone. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to open to a friend. It sometimes takes a lot to write in the journal and admit certain emotions to yourself. So once you build like a deeper connection to your journal, you can start being more personal with it, as in telling them the more uncomfortable things. Yeah. And once again, you might be like,
what do you mean by personal, Via?
That depends on you. Personal can mean all sorts of things, right? You may feel like shameful about your thoughts. When you suppress your things, it makes it worse. Sometimes you just have to face it.
And it's uncomfortable.
Nobody likes facing uncomfortable emotions. So what you should do is that you should confess it to your friend, aka your journal. It usually does make you feel better, or if it doesn't, at least you're going through the process of accepting certain emotions of yours. Being able to see your emotions onto a piece of paper and analyzing it and seeing it and making it physical, it's like you're admitting something. Like I just feel like by writing stuff down, it is real. It is real because you can see it. You're like, this is me. These are my emotions. How I'm gonna deal with it, right? Instead of just having it all in your head, it's very messy. You don't know what's going on. When you journal, it fits into boxes. It's organized. You can see it. And once you can see it, you know how to deal with it better them for. And when you can see it, you can sympathize with yourself. I'm just like, oh, she's just a human being with these emotions. She had a bad day. She feels awful, but that's just a bad day. It doesn't mean a bad life. It doesn't mean that she's a bad person. It's just something bad happened and she feels bad about it, which is fine. That's it. There's always tomorrow, right? Personal things can come in many different forms. You can be like feeling envy, feeling extremely upset at a loved one, feeling unlovable, feeling extremely triggered by something that you just feel like, oh, I shouldn't be triggered by that. But the thing is that your feelings are valid. You feel triggered, you feel triggered. So again, when you journal, usually I am talking about writing on paper, but for those of you guys who might be like,
I don't want to buy a notebook.
which instead, if you want to journal on an app, I highly recommend using Notability. So I would like to introduce today's sponsor, Notability. So sometimes I'll bring my iPad out and I would journal. And I think Notability is really great is because it can replace notebooks essentially, right? You know, if you have a lot of ideas, you can just write it down on Notability. And there's so many ways to personalize your own journal. You can create your own cover, personalize the type of pages you want. I think it's just really nice to have all of your ideas and content into just one place. So for those who don't know, I also draw. And sometimes if I'm just like journaling, I'm like, oh, I don't want to journal. I could just switch to drawing because I feel like Notability is really good at unleashing my creativity, especially like if you're a designer and you want to design things as well. Sometimes like when I think about journaling, I also think about planning and planners, and you can also use Notability as a planner. Sometimes creating a type of routine, creating some type of schedule can make your life a bit more organized. You can feel more motivated to do things as well. So you can use Notability as a planner of what you're gonna do from Monday through Sunday, especially for those of you guys who are in college. I used note-taking apps when I was in college because I just didn't want to buy all sorts of notebooks. It's so cool that you can just have like, you know, several different notebooks all in one app. Notability, it's great, it's amazing. You know, you can also take like little screenshots of things that you want to include in your notebook as well. It's just that easy, just insert a photo into the journal. It's not like you have to print it out and paste it onto an actual notebook. So yeah, I just want to thank Notability for sponsoring this portion of the video. And yeah, let's get back on with the video. For prompts, I personally don't really do prompts, but recently I have. You know, sometimes it's like you just want to update your friend, but sometimes you don't even know what to update your friend. The reason why I don't really like doing prompts is like I like to free write. I just like to write what's on my mind. Recently I saw something which the prompt goes like, number one, you write down what you're grateful for. Stuff that I'm grateful for is that having my own room, a living family, healthy body, having clothes, being comfortable, having money where I can buy yummy food, and being in a rather safe environment, I would say. The list goes on, but sometimes I think that when we're in a very dark place, just thinking about like what we're grateful for helps a little. Of course, it's not to say that whatever you're going through is suddenly not important. It is. I think just realizing what you're grateful for can help you lighten up a little bit, can give you some type of foundation in some ways. If that makes sense, like at least I have this. And I'm not saying that, oh, other people have it worse, you better enjoy your time. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Sometimes I'm like,
oh, I'm feeling so sad, feeling so sad.
But I'm like, oh, at least I have a healthy body, which may sound weird to you guys. The other day, I don't know if you know, I sprained my ankle and I had like foot pain, and I was just like, oh my god, I really took my body for granted because I love walking, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just took my foot for granted. I'm generally very grateful for my body. Like I can walk to different places, I can use my hands, and I can write, and I can make things, and I have eyes that can see, and I have ears that can hear music. It just makes me happy, and it's like, okay, there's so much to experience in this world. Like there's so much to do. I can just go to places, I can walk to places. Sometimes writing down what you're grateful for can make you see things in a different perspective, maybe you've never seen before, something that you took for granted. Second is that you should write down what you're feeling right now. I bet that's the most obvious one. I'll just be like, oh, I'm feeling a bit stressed because of XYZ, and you write down, why are you stressed? Is it because of your job? Is it because of your friends? Is it because of your parents? Is it because of your environment? It's like you're talking to a person, right? You want to get it out, what's in here, like what's on your mind, write it all down. Number three is that you can just write down what could be better, as in like, you know, what could be improved upon? What can make you happier?
I start complaining a little when I do that.
XYZ could be better, this could be better, that could be better, this could be a different type of thing. It gives you more of a focus. This is something that I want to focus on. This is something that I need to do better. Instead of saying like what's wrong, you know, you should be like, what could be better? This could be improved, that could be improved. And because you're writing it down, you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this because this could be better, so I'm gonna make it better. These type of prompts, I feel like it's more like to get you started. I am still learning as I go. So maybe as time goes on, I will start learning more prompts. At least for me, the biggest thing for journaling is admitting these things that you do not want to admit to yourself. But you have to remember that this is your journal. This is your safe place. Make sure to keep your journal in a safe place, okay?
You don't want people to find it.
The most important person to admit your feelings to is yourself. Because if you're constantly feeling shame, you don't like this is, I don't want to be associated with that person. I don't want to admit these awful feelings to myself. You're running away from yourself. You're running away from your emotions. And these emotions are not shameful. They're emotions. Your emotions don't dictate who you are. It just, it's a little part. You're just feeling this. Emotions change all the time. You just have emotions. And sometimes you're going to have these bad emotions. Be nice to yourself. And sometimes it might be hard to be nice to yourself, which is why I feel like journaling helps. For me, sometimes I look at my journal, I see another person, which sounds bad, I know, but it helps me. Sometimes if it's hard to be kind to yourself, you can be kind to another person. You're reading it, you're like, oh, this doesn't seem that big of a deal. So going more into like the benefits of journaling, one of the biggest things that I didn't really realize until later on is that it improves memory. It really does, because for me, I don't really have that great of a memory.
I barely remember what I ate yesterday.
Which is also why I vlog, because vlogging helps me remember things as well. When I look back at my videos, I'm like, oh, she did this. But journaling also helps because it helps you remember your certain emotions, because I don't remember how I was like a year ago, but I journal. Photos and videos, of course, can tell you a lot as well, especially if you're talking in them. But let's say you're not talking, it's just a random video and a random photo. It doesn't tell you much of what you were like a year ago, but when you journal, especially when you journal your emotions, you can see what state you were in before. And sometimes you can look back at it a year ago, you're like, oh my God, I came so far. I was in such a dark place and now I'm okay. And when you live, you have more evidence of how strong you are as a person. So now if I get into a dark place, I'll be good because I have evidence of me being strong before. I'm probably stronger now. Like I overcame that, I can overcome this. Why? Because I have the evidence. Next is just like I said before, which is one of the more important things, is self-awareness. When you journal, you're looking things onto a piece of paper. You know how your thought process works. You understand yourself better. And sometimes you're just like,
no, I understand myself fine.
Do you though? Everything in your head is messy. You have this thought. Everything is negative because you're not sorting it out. It's overwhelming to think about and you have these bad things, right, on top of one another. It just feels bad. I'm stressed. But when you journal it out, sometimes you lay it out, you're like, okay, maybe it isn't as bad. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. And when you are more self-aware with what you're thinking and your emotions, you realize more of what your problem is. The more I journal, the more I realize, okay, this triggers me, that triggers me. Like, I'm not saying like journal's gonna solve all your issues, but it makes you more aware. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to really work on this. This is my weak point. I feel like this is one of the biggest things why people journal is that you're releasing like what's inside. The reason why you need to release of your like bad emotions is because when I bottle things up, it's more like I'm running away from it. I do not want to face it. I don't want to deal with it, which is not good because once a situation arises, you never learn how to deal with the emotion. It can make life really difficult because you don't know how to deal with the emotion. Through journaling, I realized it was a pattern of me avoiding certain conflicts and avoiding communication through my friendships. And the more I journal, I realized, oh, this is a problem of mine. I run away. I'm scared to show people I care. And then the more I write it down, I'm just like, wait, why is it scary to show that I care? It doesn't make sense. You just care for someone. How is that embarrassing? It's not to text like, hey, I know we fought. I just want to see how are you doing, XYZ. For me, I think that it came down to a point where I realized that I'm just going to text them. I'm going to reach out to them. How they respond, I don't care how they respond. They can either talk to me or they can ignore me. And I'm not gonna take them ignoring me as a rejection, as me as a bad person. Maybe I've made mistakes, but I don't think I'm a bad person. I did make a leap recently where I reached out to someone and it was very hard for me to even reach out to that person, but I did. I was just so proud of myself to even do that, to reach out to them because I realized this was a significant problem of mine. I was just so happy that I did. At the end, it was like they did something that really annoyed me. I also did things that really annoyed them. If we went back to like a year, I would have just left the situation, right? This was prior to I journal. But now that I journal more and more, I realize more of my character. I'm like, I need to stop running away from this. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try to talk to them. If things work out, they work out. If they don't, and don't. And back then, I was so scared of rejection. Okay, if this friend rejects me, I can't deal with that. So I'm not even gonna reach out. But now it's like, I don't care. I want to show you I care. It didn't really work out and it's fine. Like, it was upsetting. I have flaws. I feel like I made some mistakes and some I think back to it, I feel bad, but I'm not going to linger on that. I made a mistake. I wasn't being the greatest friend I can, but I'm not going to let sit here and be I'm a bad person. You can't move forward with that. Through that interaction, genuinely, I think that I felt like I saw a lot of my weak points and I'm like, I'm going to try to be a better friend and I'm going to try to not do that again. Made a mistake. It happened. You got to move on. You have to move on because you can't linger in the past. You keep lingering in the past, it's gonna eat you up. But this probably take pages and pages for me to realize. So I think at the end, you should just journal however you want. And also, I genuinely do think Is manifesting spiritual? Because this video is gonna be pretty long. If you guys want a video of how like to manifest things, let things become true within your journal, let me know. I can make a separate video on that. I genuinely do believe that because it happened to me. I mean, I've heard people who say that like journal is like therapy to them, but for me, journaling is not really therapy because I think there's a difference between talking to like an actual therapist and journaling. But I do think that journaling has helped me accept more of myself. It has helped me tremendously. I feel like if for those of you guys who can't get therapy, I think journal is a very good alternative, and I think that it becomes more beneficial as time goes on because you see a pattern. You see a pattern of what has happened and how you have came over it. And you can flip through the pages, you can flip through the days. You're like, okay, on the first, some bad shit happened and I thought my life was gonna end and I thought I was never gonna get through this. And then afterwards, a week after, I'm like, well, I was overthinking and I came through this. Sometimes, you know, when you live life, you become stronger. And in this case, in your journal, you know, you have proof that you overcame this. Sometimes I do think that my journal is the proof of me being able to live, as in like I'm capable. Sometimes you just gotta go through your journal. You probably didn't even write down like I am capable, but sometimes you can just see through what happened, through your actions. There's one thing that you want to take away from this video is to admit the difficult things. That's it. It's harder than you think because sometimes you have a lot of these emotions that you never want to admit to yourself. You're like, I don't want to admit this to myself. Like, it's shameful. And so when you admit the difficult things to yourself, it's like there's a relief. Anyways, I hope that this video helped you guys. Journaling is very, very important. Really improve your mental health. It can make you happier. And to become happier, you need to get over the obstacles. You need to realize what's preventing you from being happy. That's it for my journaling video. Let me know what you guys think. You know, I tend to journal a lot, so I do have different types of topics I could talk about if you guys want. I will see you guys all very, very soon. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your morning, day, afternoon, or night. And have a lovely, lovely rest of your week because you deserve it. And you deserve happiness. And you deserve to have a happy, happy week. Anyways, okay. I will see you guys soon. Bye!
That's what you do. Pretty sets are pretty, but pretty is prettier with you. Now I know there's someone I wanna be, someone to you. So I made my move. We just take it slow. Keep the sailing smooth, you know.